TitleMatchNetwork.com.
You worked for Jim Crockett, and I believe Jim Barnett was involved with the company. What are your memories of Jim Crockett and Jim Barnett?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
What year?
This is probably like the late 70s when you worked for Crockett. You were down there.
Jim Barnett was involved with Georgia Championship Wrestling, right. And then was Barnett. Jim Barnett was a homosexual, you know.
Right.
Are you a homosexual?
Absolutely.
Is that why you question?
No, we asked everybody about Jim Barnett.
Well, I don't know. Are you?
No.
Oh, you're not a homo?
No.
Okay. Vern Gagne and Jim Barnett shared a room at the Waldorf Astoria. True story. Both of them confirmed it. Like 1953, 1954, they both shared a room because they couldn't afford the room separately. The room was like $22 a night. Waldorf Astoria, guys, it's like $2,200 a night now, or whatever it is, you know. But they had a suite. Right. They got a suite, 1953 or 1954, so whatever it was. And I asked Gagne, about 1972 or 73 when I heard this story. I said, I heard you shared a room with Jim Barnett, the Waldorf Astoria in New York. Wow, that. Yeah, I said, Barnett said the room was too expensive. He said it was $22 a night. I said, did you share the bed? He said, no, we had two beds. That was a classic. $22 a night.
Wow. Now you teamed up with John Studd too in the Mid-Atlantic area. What are your memories of teaming up with John Studd?
John, he wanted to be a great wrestler. John's biggest problem was that he wanted to be a giant. When we became tag team partners, he was 6'8". 6'8". I mean, I'm 6'1". I have no problem with my height. You have any problem with your height?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Well, he wanted to be a giant. His idol was Andre the Giant. He wanted to be a giant. Well, he got tied up with this Larry Pacifico over in Ohio. And Larry became his guru for growth hormones, steroids, and this and that. And I know Larry. Larry's an honorable guy. But John went overboard. He went from 6'8". About 4 years later, he was 6'11 and a half. Pumping him. Now, he's in his 30s now. You're not supposed to grow 3.5 inches when you're in your 30s. Well, he did. He went from 270 to 360. And because of all the steroids and the human growth hormone, he had no endurance. I mean, he get in the ring, he turned purple within 2-3 minutes. Wow. It was just pathetic. It was just, I felt, I'm not kidding, I sincerely felt sorry for him. Right. But he went like 7-8 years like that, and he finally passed away. I told him, I said, John, you're killing yourself. You have a beautiful wife. You have 2 beautiful children. Why are you doing this to yourself? But it was psychological. He just fucking destroyed himself.
Sad. Now, you had your first run with Bob Backlund, and you guys had great chemistry together. We did a shoot interview with Superstar Billy Graham, and he said when he worked Bob was very paranoid about certain aspects of the match when they would put it together. Did you find that to be true?
Can we stop the interview for a second?
Yes.
I got to piss.
No problem.
I'd be in the bar.
We were talking about working with Bob Backlund.
Oh, can you get me another beer? This beer's almost gone.
Yeah, sure.
I think there's a beer upstairs, isn't there?
I don't know.
But they had a whole case of it, or a couple.
Oh yeah, it's second floor in the conference room if you want.
Yeah, they had a couple cases.
Do you know where the conference room is on the second floor?
No, I'll go through it.
It's right next to the computer room. It's free, and it's
all right.
They're in there. If not, you could get one at the bar.
Okay.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about
Bobby Backlund being paranoid because superstar Billy Graham thought he was paranoid.
right.
So go ahead and.
I mean, when you went over your matches with Bob, did you find that he was paranoid? Because I remember Superstar said when he would do matches with them and they would do false hope spots, that Bob would be very paranoid that Billy wouldn't let him up in time and he was going to pin him.
Is the camera running?
Yeah.
Okay. Bobby Backlund being paranoid. Well, let's start this. Turn that thing off for a second.
Start it off?
Yeah, turn it off.
Right.
But he was afraid that because I was from the Olympics and I was with Bruno, and there was a few things that I did with Bruno with Japan that I didn't go through the old man. The old man got pissed off and fucking cut me short.
Right.
The old man cut my career short.
Okay.
And the kid knew about it, you know.
Did you like working with Bob? Or
Yeah. No, I didn't like working with Bob, but I enjoyed it.
Right.
I didn't like working with him, but I enjoyed it. And I knew what the outcome was always going to be because he had what I was supposed to have had.
Right.
He had the fucking belt and I didn't have the belt. But I tolerated it. I was a business man.
Right.
The thing is, I never looked at it. I was a real athlete.
Right.
I mean, I was in the fucking World Championships. I was in the Pan American Games. I was in the Olympic Games. Not in one sport. I was there in two sports. I was there as a fucking shot putter in track and field. I was there as a weightlifter. I mean, I could have been there as a Greco-Roman wrestler too. And I used to work out with Chris Taylor. You remember who Chris Taylor was?
I'm not sure exactly who he was.
Chris Taylor was a 400-pound wrestler from Iowa who was a national and world champion. I used to fucking thump him.
Right.
And he'd get pissed off at me all the time for not going to the world championships in Greco-Roman. Because he always said, Ken, you could be world champion in Greco-Roman. You could beat the fight. He said, I can't beat the German and the Russian, but you can. I said, Chris, I'm into fucking weightlifting, you know. He said, well, why don't you start throwing the shot again? I said, well, because I want to be a pro wrestler. I said, fuck, there's no money in that shit. I mean, there was no money.
Right.
I mean, not a fucking nickel, not a dime.
You also worked for Sam Munchnick, and I believe Kevin Von Erich was down there. You worked a little bit with Kevin.
Absolutely.
What are your memories of working with Kevin?
But
Stiff?
Is this thing running again?
Yeah.
Well, turn it off and we'll go back to Backlund.
Okay.
Or was that running?
No, I just put it on now.
Okay. Well, you didn't have it running when I was talking about Backlund?
No, you told me not to.
Oh, well, turn back on. We'll talk about Backlund.
Okay. Let's go back to Bob Backlund.
Well, start what Superstar said.
Superstar Billy Graham said that Bob was a little bit paranoid when he worked with him.
Well, Superstar Billy Graham, God bless his soul. I love him like a brother. I'm not kidding. He's just a dynamite personality. But he's the type of guy that knock on your door. You open the door, he'd break your kneecaps with a baseball bat. If that didn't work, he'd probably pull out a gun from his, down around his ankle and put a bullet in your head. I don't know. What the fuck? He was a collection agent. You ever remember Brimstone and Fire? Elmer Gantry! You remember Elmer Gantry movie?
No, it was before my time, probably.
God, you guys are so fucking young. Anyway, Billy Graham was the Elmer Gantry of the 60s, late 60s, 70s. But no, Billy was super. But Billy was so used to breaking kneecaps with baseball bats that maybe he thought an amateur wrestler like Bobby Backlund. I think Bobby was national champion from North Dakota. I mean, he grew up in Princeton, Minnesota, but he was a hell of an athlete, and I mean, there's no way that Billy Graham was going to beat Bobby Backlund in a wrestling match, And so maybe that's why Billy Graham was paranoid.
Okay.
Just a thought.
TitleMatchNetwork.com